have any unopened bottles or open bottles of wine we need to drink today?
Yes, I'm on. I haven't started talking, but I'm recording.
Okay.
Hey, everybody! Happy Thursday! Welcome to Bead Stash Challenge. It's week 42, and it's time for our design reveal. Today we're going to make a ring. I have a couple options for designs, but we'll see what we decide to do. If you're just joining us, please let me know you're out there. Say hello. Love to know where you're coming in from, and even if you're watching the replay, I'd love to see that. Hope you guys are enjoying your Halloween week. I know not everybody celebrates Halloween, but we have fun. We had our neighborhood party last night, so that was fun, and we're actually going to a Pirates of the Caribbean themed dinner tomorrow night, so we're going to dress as pirates, so that'll be fun. Hey, Janelda. Glad to see you. So, like I said, we're going to make rings today. I just want to remind everybody that our website, which I put in the description, and I'll show it again before we get started. We still are running our 15% off sale through tomorrow at midnight. I don't know when it cuts off. You know, I have tomorrow as the last day, so I honestly don't know if it uses a specific time because that's what I'm on or exactly what. But anyways, if you use the code STARS15, STARS 15, you get 15% off your order on our website. If you order directly from me by either commenting on a video or a post or direct messaging me through Desert Cat Creations, I will automatically give you the 15% off as long as you order before Friday. And that includes all of our cards, decks, all of our kits, and all of our bead mixes. So, you know, you can get ready for the holidays, especially anybody who, you know, needs a little push with their creativity or, you know, wants to, you know, just play with some other beads that we've done the specific, you know, I've done the curating for you where you got some mixes, and it's a lot of fun. So, so just another reminder, we are, I live in Arizona. We don't go on daylight savings time. So our Sunday show this week will be an hour earlier for all of you that do go on daylight savings time. So I will have, as of Sunday, I will be back on Mountain Standard Time. Well, we always are on Mountain Standard Time, so that's, like I said, an hour earlier for most of you, because usually, like during summer, I have to go work on Pacific Time because it's just how it goes. But Sunday, I think we're going to do either the tutorial for our prickly pear ornament kit or our Saguaro Suncatcher kit, which I actually have them hanging up in the other room. So, but you guys know it's basically this is a Saguaro. This is our standalone statue as part of our Cactus Gardens, but the Suncatcher or ornament kit includes beads for 2 Saguaros, 2 different size, and there's, instead of this giant guy that you have to make him stand up, it's a slightly smaller one, but it's just as sparkly. So those are our latest kits, and we will be doing either the I don't know, maybe I'll let you guys vote. Would you rather have me wait a week on the ornaments, or would you like me to do the Cactus Suncatcher? If you have an opinion, go ahead and vote. If you don't care, I'll just decide sometime before we do that. So, let's see. I don't think I have any other announcements. So, let's go ahead and flip the camera over and get started on something here. Let me zoom in. And again, this is our website if you want to use that to place an order. The sale, the code is STARS, STARS 15. If you have any troubles with the code, try doing it all in capital letters. Anyways, that's good through tomorrow, Halloween. So maybe since you know, most of you probably don't go out trick-or-treating, you can buy yourself some treats. You may be unavailable this Sunday. Okay, no, no worries. Like I said, I just wanted to show these so that, I have to say, like I said, I don't think my directions for the prickly pear were as clear as some of my directions because I was kind of in a hurry and, sometimes you struggle with what you're working on, right? So I have to make, let's remind everybody what we are making this week. So we're making a ring. We have to use rainbow finish beads or metal in our design. We have to use teal or turquoise in our design. To use blue in our design. And we have to design something inspired by a boardwalk or pier. And I will say I was doing great. I was all set for my ring. I had all this stuff worked out. And then I looked at my challenge card again, and I decided it was a little bit of a challenge this week. But let's see what we pulled out. So I was thinking I might make something with our super duos again. And I'll let you guys see what. So if you don't remember, we made these super duo rings quite a while ago, and they are super fun to work, and they're to make, and they're very comfortable. And I made two versions. We made one. This one is actually made using beading wire, soft flex beading wire in this case. Aileron. And the nice thing about that one is the size. Once you have the size stays, right? And it's pretty sturdy. It's not gonna come apart. And then we made some stretchy ones, which are totally fun too. And I quite honestly haven't any troubles with any of them breaking. But I made this one the other day with a little teeny tiny skull on there. You still wear your cat? Yeah, I mean, these are super fun. I wear them a lot. I've made them with different beads. So I mean, this is one of my favorite style of rings to wear. I also love to make ones with seed beads and peyote stitch. I didn't want to do that today. And then you can always make them with buttons. This is just an example. These are little skull buttons and, wire. But the challenge comes in when you have to include, 3 different types of, 3 different types of beads or finishes in here. So anyways, I pulled out a couple things. We may try more than one thing here. We'll see how it goes. But all right, so if I make the super duos, I pulled out this mix, which is called the Raku mix. But the great thing is, look, it has turquoise and it has blue. So perfect, right? But it doesn't have rainbow. So I do have some rainbow. Actually, I don't know why I have those out here, but pulled out some rainbow seed beads. And you know, these are kind of a mix, but they're rainbow color. I'm so sorry, Janelda. I hope you recover quickly and tell your cat to pick up her toys. So. But at least you can watch lots of videos, right? Or does that make it worse? Anyways, let's look at what I got here. So, all right. So I showed you I got the teal and turquoise. I got the blue. Got the rainbow finish. So that takes care of all that. Now, if I want to do a center in there, you know, I have to do this boardwalk or pier. So I did come up with a rainbow coated skull bead, which I thought could be fun. I didn't think it quite went with the other beads. I don't know, maybe it would. I mean, now the sizing using this like rainbow bead would be a little, we're gonna have to play with it because it's thicker, so you need to leave room. Yeah, maybe that, I don't know, do you guys think that rainbow bead blends in with those pretty well? Maybe we will make, I don't know, but so remember, we have to inspire by boardwalk or pier, right? So I was thinking, you know, the skull is kind of piratey, and you know, I figure on most boardwalks you probably have somebody dressed as a pirate wandering around, or you know, if it's one that boats swim up to, there might be a boat that, you know, they have pirate cruises. So that's a possibility. But I also pulled out a couple other beads, unless, you know, if we wanted to try something thinner, I was thinking we could try to make a ring that had multiple beads. So I have a little teeny tiny skull that's flatter. I also have, you know, a turtle and a little fish, so we would definitely get the, you know, ocean pier in there. So I don't know, what do you guys vote for? Should I use the big bead or the smaller metal beads? Smaller? Yeah, I think it's gonna work a little better, but oh, big bead. I don't have a tiebreaker now. Maybe we'll try the bigger bead, because you know, we're accepting a challenge, and we'll, if we have time, we'll make a second one. So since I'm using the rainbow skull, I'm actually not going to use the rainbow seed beads. I think I'm going to just use these blue ones because the other ones put a lot of purple, and I'm not sure the purple goes with my other beads as well. So you love it when you actually, you guys coordinate fairly often. So I don't have Marianica's not on right now, so she can't like be my tiebreaker. But all right, so one more thing that you guys can vote on too is, should I use the beading wire or stretchy? Because it is a slightly different challenge. Um, and this also means you're accepting that my pirate or my skull bead represents the pier. Although I would argue that the blues and teals could represent the water at the pier, huh? I think I won't use these. Dry stretch? Okay. I think I love the combination of beads in here. I think I'm going to stick with just the blue and turquoise ones. Although I kind of like the yellowish. We'll see here. The red rock hue adds a little too much. All right, so I'm going to use the 0.7 millimeter stretch just because it will fit through. I'll have to double check these seed beads. It usually will fit through most seed beads, so you may have to use smaller if it won't fit through your beads. So with the stretchy one, remember we want our knot to be near our main bead because then it can go in there and you don't have any other seams, correct? Whereas if you're doing the the beading wire, then you want it in the middle. The wood slats on the, yeah, that's true. That works too. Yeah, like I said, I was, I could come up with lots of reasons. So, all right, I am going to pre-stretch my stretchy a little. And I like to start out with the first round being on the stretch, the spool, and then I will add the other. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so we've got this guy. And then I'm using size 11 seed beads between each of the other beads. So Janelda, your slat comment tells me, which I love that imagery. That works great. That means I am gonna add this kind of yellowish brown one in because that can represent the wood. Oops. And see, I already forgot to put my seed bead in between here. Now, I don't use a needle with stretch. I know some people do. It might make it easier. Now, I have found in making these rings, and I've made a number of them, that when you use different colors of the beads or different spacer beads, the sizes are not consistent. Also with stretch beads. So like I made one ring which I think was a size 8. And it used like 17 of the super duos. But then others, I've made have taken more than that or less than that to make the same size ring. But I mean, it also depends on what you're putting in your center. So I debated trying to make something using a ring using Tila's. I still want to try that because it should work similar, and you don't necessarily need the seed beads. Sometimes the seed beads are hard to find the hole on. I think I need to get new glasses. Although I went to the eye doctor and they told me that my prescription really hadn't changed, so in theory I shouldn't feel like I need new glasses, right? Alright, now this bead is definitely longer this way than a lot of these, so that would mean I'd need less of everything else. However, it's also thicker, which means I will need some extra space in there, so. And if you've made these, you have to just kind of try them on or put them on the, it's a little bit of trial and error to size them. Yeah, I mean, I've made the Tila stretch bracelets too, so, yeah, it's just a tiny bracelet, right? So, I just, I feel like going through my Tila's looking for colors, and I don't know how it would work, you know, because on these ones I like to put, you know, some other bead as my center. I don't know if that would work as well with the Tila. Alright, we're going to try this on our finger in a minute here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to put like 15 on here and then we'll try it. I cannot believe that it's going to be November already this weekend. I am not prepared. Oops. Alright, more beads on my floor that I get to find later on. Do you guys have carpet in the rooms where you bead, or do you end up like I do and beads just go flying in all directions and eventually I end up sweeping them up? But the only problem is sometimes they fall into my boxes and then I don't find them for a while, or my bags that I have near my desk. So, all right, let's see. So I mean, so look how big that is. Of course, we're making it stretchy, so it looks big, but it fits around the top of my finger. Actually, I think I'm going with the fact that that should be a good size. All right, so remember we did pre-stretch a little bit. I'm gonna pre-stretch a little more, and then you want to make sure that you have, you know, more than the length of beads before you loop this back around. And whatever bead you're putting in the center, you know, you got to be able to get two lengths of stretch through. So sometimes it's a little tight, so I pull the stretch so I can stick the second one through. Yeah, that's me. I can hear them bounce, and if I don't hear them, then I know they went, into something that I have. I guess I should have tested this bead beforehand, but it is slowly going through there. The good thing is once you get it in there, I really don't want to have to go back and restring everything on thinner. But I did not pay attention to how big the size was of the hole in my bead. You guys can't see, I'm just gently pushing it through and somehow convincing myself that I'm making progress. I'm actually going to use my pliers with the idea that I can actually tell if it's going through. Like I need an extra support at the moment, but sorry about this. Might have been quicker to redo things, huh? With thinner. I don't know if it'll help if I push them both through. Huh? I know this part's not very exciting. Don't you hate it when you got this whole design and then all of a sudden your one bead has smaller opening than everything else. Just need to get it through far enough. That I can grab that end. And I wish I could actually see where it is through this bead. Sorry. Feel like this has taken way too much time. The bead's not that thick, so. We must be getting close. All right. Come on. Yay, finally. Ah! Pulled the end off. Okay. All right, we got the end out. Now, I need that to be a push and pull. Well, that's what I ended up doing here, I think. All right, so pull it a little tighter. And then I am pulling the other one because I want this pretty tight. Okay. Just putting it on, figure I don't have a ring on. All right, I think that's going to work, but just realize it may tighten up as we go around here. All right. So now if I wanted to, I could take it off the spool, but I'm going to leave it for the moment. And now we just do the same design. So you start with the seed bead, and then, you know, you do have to kind of hold these, the super duos so they're all going the same direction. There's, you know, there must have been some coating inside my bead because there's color on my cord now. All right. So as you go through here, these things will line up and tighten up. So we got a bead. And just be warned, I mean, if you don't work with the 2-hole beads, sometimes not both holes are open because they get coated or something. I haven't run into, well, I shouldn't say that. I rarely run into ones that aren't like, that I can't just stick a pin or a piece of metal through and open up the hole. But you really should inspect them so you don't have to take things apart if you run into problems, but sometimes you do have to do that, and it's no fun when you have to take a project apart because your bead does not have a hole in it. I get that the when you're drilling the beads, sometimes there will be ones that don't have the right holes in them or stuff. Quality control is not a simple process, but that's why we hand make things, because we can control the quality. Just can't control the quality of the pieces we buy. Yeah, me too. I run into that when So if you guys tuned in after I talked about it, daylight savings is this weekend, so remember I will be on an hour earlier. Same time for me, but hour earlier for all of you. So good thing is these beads can spin around until you just need to make sure they're all going the same direction when you tighten things up. So Lorraine, is your I assume your husband's surgery went well. Hopefully he's recovering quickly. It's like that time of year when everything's going on. Oh yeah, I was watching that this morning too. I'm glad for her it's over, but it's unfortunate. She, that whole company was built on her, but things get nasty. That's wonderful, Lorraine. Glad to hear that. All right, we're almost there. Then I gotta make sure everything's going in the same direction. Janelle, did you have more shows before the end of the year? Oh. These seed beads, the holes are slightly smaller. Oh. Doing? I put 2 beads on, guys. What am I doing? All right, our last bead. This was the one I just had on there, so I know it fits. All right, so if we've got it laid out flat, which it's not going to be, we're going to adjust everything and we are going to tie our knot. Now, normally I would like to, I don't know why, but go through here so that I didn't have to fight with this bead there, but obviously that's not going to happen because it was very tight to get through there to start with. So, but here's where we have to do a little tightening up, I'm going to go ahead and cut this so I don't have to fight with it. But I need to tighten this guy so that so like I said, normally I would go back through the bead, but it's not going to work. But you see when you tighten it, it kind of does a little twisting, which won't affect it once you have it on. It just doesn't, you know, look good when it's laying there. So if you were trying to sell them, and I am just gonna do that whole stretch and pull, trying to get things so they're the same. All right, well, I think that's as good as we're gonna get. So let's do our, I already did a right over left, so now I'm going to do the left over right, and I'm going to do it twice because you want to do the surgeon's knot. And I'm going to do an extra tie here. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to pull that into the bead, so I might, you know, I might want to glue that before I trimmed it, or try to pull it in. I don't think that's going to work though. I don't want to break my thread. So, all right, so let me take off my spider, and we'll put this guy on. You know, I think, you know, the stretch is going to have to even out. We didn't get it quite as evenly stretched, but and that knot is not going to help, so I might actually, I think I'm going to wrap do that old wrap and put another knot in here with the thought that it will help even things out. You can never put too many knots in, right? All right, since I've got like 6 knots in there now, we should be good, right? I might stick a little glue on there. And don't forget, if you're gluing your stretch stuff, don't use super glue because it'll make it brittle. Use GS Hypo cement. All right, let's put on our ring. There we go. We got a fun Halloween as well as you know, inspired by our boardwalk. So, all right, let me move this out. We will review to make sure we got everything in there. All right, so we made a ring. Our skull has the rainbow finish. We used turquoise super duos, and we used blue super duos and little spacer beads. You work from the middle with both sides at one time. Okay. And inspired by the boardwalk or pier. So, you know, as Janelda pointed out, the super duos do make sort of a wood design. So, you know, I added this yellowish brown one in. But I also think, you know, the blues and turquoises represent the water near the pier. And like I said, you know, when I see skulls, I often think of pirates. And I think that a lot of boardwalks and piers around the country have somebody walking around dressed as a pirate. Or where were we? I was somewhere not long ago that they actually had, you know, a pirate ship and you could take a little tour. Maybe that was down in Florida. I don't know. But now I have a new ring to wear with my pirate outfit. So this comes out to, just for anybody who's watching and wants to make one of these. Now, this skull bead, it looks like it's about 8 millimeters. The ring itself actually comes out to about size 9. I have big fingers. But it's stretchy, so if you have bigger fingers or want to wear it on, you know, a thicker finger, you could do that, or even make it for a man. So anyways, that size 9. So this was an 8, I think he's about 8 millimeters. Oh, no, he's 10 millimeters. All right. And then I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 super duos and some size 11 spacers. So, all right, so that was fun. I hadn't made a ring in a while, so I think I'm also, and I may, you know what, I may decide not to do the kit this weekend. We'll see, because it is Day of the Dead this weekend, so I might try to do something with our Sugar Skull button that's in our Western mix. I had also considered doing that, and I had some rainbow beads I hadn't gotten around to getting. I had one turquoise bead. I gotta find some, so I don't know. We may do something with these beads. And you know, I haven't tried like making a ring out of the Sugar Skull button. And again, this is a two-hole shank, which was a little different. All right, okie dokie, let's flip this over. Alrighty, thanks again for joining me. I got my ear cuffs on. I have a bat, and I have a, this one is a lot of fun. It's a spider web, and then it has a little spider that goes through your ear. These are from a lady called, it's Marty Magic. I think it's Marty Magic, but they're all into ear cuffs, and they have some really neat ones that I've bought through the years. I haven't bought any in a long time, but I just gave you a great idea. Well, yay. You know, we're all here for inspiration, and, you know, I love seeing what other people are doing, and then I will, you know, just make something, and kind of make it my own, right? So like these rings, I had seen somebody make them just the rings, but you know, putting the centerpiece in there, I think made it really different and a lot of fun. So maybe we'll try Tila rings one of these days as well. So it's all good. All right. Thanks again, as always, for joining me. If you're catching me on the replay, let me know. I'd love to know who's out there. I will be transferring these videos over to YouTube, so they're there for the long term. They are on Facebook for 30 days. If you haven't already, please like and follow us on Desert Cat Creations on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe to me on YouTube. That would be wonderful. I will see you all soon, and don't forget to take time to be creative. We'll see you Sunday, an hour earlier for all of you, unless you're from Arizona or Hawaii. Okay, then we're at their usual time, but noon Mountain Standard Time on Sunday. Thanks.